Well, greetings everyone. If you have seen any of my other videos, you have seen me wear this Rode lavalier mic hooked up to the Rode Wireless Go system. I have the original they released a few years ago, and I've been using it pretty much exclusively since, and have really enjoyed it in that it just seems to work. I don't have to fiddle with it much, and it puts out pretty reasonable quality audio. Well, as this channel grows and I do more things, I thought it would be nice to eventually have a second opportunity for a second mic, so if I wanted to work with somebody else and mic both of us. But that introduces a complication because in order to have multiple mics, what you used to have to do was start looking at things like little mixing boards and all of that could take those two inputs and then reduce it down into the single input that the camera can handle. Well, there are new solutions on the market now because doing things like this is so popular. One of them is the Rode Video Mic 2, or Wireless Mic 2, which does have the option of having two transmitters, so two of these guys, that go into a single receiver that then goes into your camera. I looked at that and realized I wanted a few more things. I wanted a charging case this time, something where you could plug all the different units into a case that itself had a battery, then you could just charge the whole thing together. Sometimes finding enough USB-Cs to charge all this stuff independently is a bit of a pain. And once I added all that up, I realized that that price point was right at equal with another new product on the market that I actually really wanted to give it a try to. So, what I want to talk about today is actually not the Rode Video Mic, but is instead this guy from DJI. DJI you may know as the drone company. That's probably what they're known for best. But they've been expanding from there because their drones have cameras on them. So now they have an action camera that is competing with things like the GoPro and stuff like that. And because they have a camera, why not have a mic? And this package that came as a unit has everything that I was looking for. Two transmitters, one receiver, and then a charging case with a built-in battery, all in this handy little package. So first thing I'm going to do is let's go through what's inside of here, and I can show you and talk to you about how exactly this system works. All right, well, here's what comes in the box. If you buy this kit, there is a USB-C charging cable, which I did not include because we've all seen those. But first things first, let's look at the main event here, which is this box here, which has got a decent amount of heft to it, by the way. It's nice and small and compact. You can see how big that is, or really how small that is. But it has a little heft to it, which is actually a nice sign. And when you open it up, you see you have your LED indicator lights right there that tell you your state of charge, which is good to see. And then we have our mic setup, made up of three main components. One is we have the receiver. This is the guy, oh, and you can hear it. See, look at the lines move. It's already listening to me. That's so cool. This is the receiver. This is what actually plugs into your camera. And one of the trick things I really like about this system is it has three different connection options depending on how you are using it. Right now it has this clip style. So you can see there's a clip right there. Kind of see it. There we go. There's a clip that you can use to clip onto things, or it is designed in such a way that you can actually mount it with that on the shoe of your camera. That is what that is designed to do. Around this side, you've got your headphone out, so if you want to live monitor what you're recording, you can. You also have your regular out, so this is a stereo mic out that will go, standard 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter, that goes into what is usually the standard input on most things like DSLRs and cameras like that. So you got that going for you. All right. And on this side, you have your USB-C for charging, and then, of course, your power button. So that's that guy right there. Now, these are your sending units, which themselves are, they're small and compact. They're a different shape than the Rode option. I do like the shape. It's a little thicker Not by much, but maybe just enough to be annoying. I don't know, we'll have to play with it. But here you've got your microphone in, so that's for your lapel mic or whatever you're using, standard 3.5 millimeter or 1/8 inch. This is the built-in mic that it comes with right there. You've got a couple of buttons here. This one has a record option. So this thing actually has built-in memory in it. Well, the receiving unit does. This guy does have some built-in memory in it that lets you record what it is that you are hearing. So if I hit this button, it buzzes, and then the red light's on, and that's how I know I am recording. So it is recording me right now. And if we look at that guy, you see, oh, there's a little red light on there saying, hey, you are recording something, if you can see it. I'm not sure you can see that, actually. Well, trust me, it's there. It's there. There's a little red light, I promise. All right. And then, of course, on this side, you also have a power button and your USB-C. Too many USBs, man. Input, and that's really just for charging. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that recording off. Well, actually, here, let's just do something. Hey, this is me recording to the internal recording of my little unit here. Pretty neat. So, and then you actually get haptic feedback when it does that. I'm sure you can't tell that, but you actually get some haptic feedback. It buzzes when you do that. All right, so this has little connectors on the bottom, so when you just slide it back into the case, it does start to charge immediately. So, and then this is the second one, pretty much the same thing. Now, one of the trick things I really love this system for is it not only has the 3.5 millimeter out and the ability to put the shoe, plug it into the shoe on the top of your camera. You can actually pull this one off the bottom. It takes a little bit of force, but that actually comes off and then has a little convenient storage place right here in the case. Put that there. Put that there. Where's it go? Something like that. But then on the bottom, you can see you have a mounting space where it was mounted with some inputs. There. That's for the charging. And this is signal input. Well, what's that for? Well, it's for these little guys right here. So in addition to being able to take that input over 3.5 millimeter, this is a lightning connector, which means you can take this lightning connector, connect it onto the bottom of your unit. Oh, slide it in the right way. And then plug that whole thing into the bottom of your phone. Like so. So now this actually will be the input to your phone and it will be the microphone input in your phone. So if you're recording on your phone, now you can take it this way instead of having to do like a dongle that will take the 3.5 millimeter or whatever. The other thing I really like that for is they managed to leave you a little bit of space right here in the unit, so that you get a little extra space popping up there. So if you've got a case on the bottom of your phone, you'll be able to still get this plugged in. It's not completely flush. It's little details like that that just make this really nice to use. And then of course the other one is a USB-C option of the same thing if you have a phone that needs USB-C. So you also get these little like fuzzy guys, and they actually attach to the top of the microphones right there. So if you're using the built-in microphones, you've got a little fuzzy guy to give you some windscreen protection, which is nice. And then of course a nice little short 3.5 millimeter 1/8 inch cable for plugging it into your phone or into your camera or whatever. All right, well, now that I've showed it to you, I'm gonna wire it up and we're gonna try out actually using it instead of the Rode system I've been using this whole time. All right, well now I've got them all set up. As you can see, I'm actually wearing both of the transmitters, which you normally wouldn't do, but I'm doing it for a reason. I wanted to try something. One of them I have hooked up to my Rode lapel mic. The other one I just have using the built-in mic. Now, in its normal setup, you have a couple of choices. You can either take the two signals and let the unit itself, the receiving DJI unit, convert it to one mono feed that then gets fed into your camera. Or you can have it fed into your camera on a stereo microphone or stereo output, assuming your camera has a stereo microphone input, which most of your like nicer DSLRs and cameras like that are going to have, but you will want to check that. And what that's going to do is one of the receivers is going to come in on the left channel, and one is going to come in on the right channel. Now, I suppose you could like put like one here and one here and actually get like actual stereo sound if you wanted that. You know, maybe, I don't know that you would use this for live music or something like that, but I suppose you could, and kind of set them up a little bit far apart and actually get a true stereo input if you wanted to. Or what you're going to be likely to do is you're going to have one hooked up to one person, one hooked up to the other person, and then in your editing software, when you edit the video, you're going to go back and instead of treating that as one stereo track, you're going to go ahead and pull it out and tell your editing software to treat it as two mono tracks. Final Cut, whatever the Adobe one, Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, they'll all do this pretty easily. Plenty of YouTube videos to show you how to do that. But by pulling that stereo track in half and treating it as two mono tracks, you can also then adjust the level of each independently in your edit. So if you got somebody who maybe the mic wasn't close enough, or they're just kind of a quiet talker, you know, or whatever. There you go. I'm curious if there's any quality difference between the two, so I'm actually going to switch back and forth between them in this part of the video, so we can see together what the quality difference is. I would expect the lapel to be a little bit better, I would think, but who knows? I did not obviously bother to hook up the little windscreen thing, but I'm not really in a windy place because I'm inside, so I don't really need that. All right, well, what do I think about the system so far is I really like it. It hooks up easily to the camera. There's a really nice gain control on it. You know, depending on whether your camera's expecting line in or mic in or whatever, you know, it's helpful to be able to control the gain coming out of the DJI so that you're not overwhelming your camera and peaking it out all over the place. So it's got a nice little manual slider that you can use on its little touchscreen on the top. That's one thing I didn't mention is that little screen is actually a touchscreen. It's where you do most of your configuring, but it has a nice little manual slider so you can set. I had to reduce the gain quite a bit actually. It can come out pretty hot if you wanted to. I had to drop it down a bunch so it wasn't peaking out my camera. So that is one of those things you'll want to do, a little bit of setup time when you first use it, just to figure out where that gain wants to be on your input. So again, you're not kind of peeking it out all over the place. I will see after this video is recorded what the quality level is, but especially with this one where it's using the same mic, I would expect it to be fine. So from a features benefit, it definitely has some additional options and features that at least my original Rode wireless system doesn't have. Definitely comes with a few extra bits and pieces. The little inputs so that you can plug it in directly to your phone or to your iPhone, I think is a really killer feature. And really, if you're an on-the-go shooter who's doing things like that, having that option to be that self-contained and with less like, you know, bits and pieces, less adapters and things like that. Every time you add an adapter to the system, you run the risk for introducing noise. So to go directly from the unit to lightning into your camera, that's pretty neat. I did play with that a little bit and it works really well. I did have to update my iPhone to the latest iOS to make that work and update I don't think I had to update the firmware on the DJI. I think it came with the latest firmware, but I did have to update my iPhone to the latest iPhone software, iOS, in order to make that work. But once I did that, it worked fine. Filmic Pro, you know, Pro Shooter, all the video things, you know, detected it as an input source and just used it great. So on the whole, I'm going to say this is so far a pretty strong recommendation for me. Nice little unit. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. I'll put the price on the screen because I'm not quite remembering it right now. But if this is something you rely on or need to have and you just need something simple that works, this seems to be something that's simple and seems to work, and it seems that DJI has really come to play in this space. All right, so that is the DJI wireless mic setup. Overall, I'm very happy with it. I purchased this, by the way, with my own money. I wasn't sent this to review or anything like that. So this is my honest opinion of what's going on. And I would say tied with the Rode mics, which I still really like, it's a really great system and it works really well, at least on par with the system that I have been using. And now I get dual channel, which I'm looking for, in a rather convenient package. I do wish the receiver or the transmitters were a little bit smaller. I think that's where maybe the Rode has the edge, especially if you're going to use them in that clip-on mode instead of using them with a separate microphone. That may be a consideration. I do think the battery lasts a little longer, but I've never recorded so long that I've run through a whole battery anyway. So yeah, and the range seems fine. Typically in these situations, you're not getting terribly far away from your camera, so I understand the range is comparable, and I didn't run into any issues when I've been playing with the last few days, but I don't try to stand 100 yards away from my camera either. So if that's a concern, that may be something you want to think about or test out for yourself. But if you're in a product like this, DJI has really kind of arrived on the scene with all of this stuff, and of course it's compatible with everything else, because I have a DJI mic system. It's with a Rode mic plugged into it, into my Canon camera, and you know what? It all just works, and that's pretty cool. All right, well, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. And until we see each other again, have a great day. Hey everybody, if you found that video helpful, please hit like and subscribe, and also check the video description for links to any products you've seen in today's videos. Doing that really helps support this channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment with any questions that you may have. A lot of the content I do is based directly on the questions and the feedback you give, so keep that coming and I will keep making them. Thank you.